It's like
Keep it fun, light,
it's
lighten
like
it, lighten it.
Pavlov's dog. Well, hello there. Welcome to our home theater.
So, we heard about this American sitcom called Going Dutch. You know, we've never heard of this show or seen it before, so let's check it out. And
Let's check it out with you.
with you, and also, you got the idea of...
Yeah, I was thinking about it. I thought, I'm sure that I've seen Dutch representations in American media before, and they would have predated whenever we visited here or moved here.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, let's revisit some of those. So we're going to check out some scenes from Spider-Man, Far From Home,
Okay.
Friends, an episode of Friends, and also Goldmember.
Goldmember, okay. And
Yeah.
Just, we wanted to kind of take a look and see how the Americans view the Dutch.
Half of Americans don't have passports and will never come to the Netherlands. So, you know, what is it that we're seeing there that tells Americans, signals to us, hey, this is the Netherlands in media? And by the way, we're going to be showing very short clips of this so that we stay within fair use laws. But all of these clips are available on YouTube if you want to see the whole thing. So the first one we're going to watch is the TV show Going Dutch.
Going Dutch.
I guess it's a U.S. colonel who's being reprimanded, disciplined by being sent to a U.S. military outpost in the Netherlands. The U.S. military doesn't really have a large base in the Netherlands. They have one little outpost that is just supportive of NATO. So it's like if any American troops are working with NATO, they have a place to sleep. So this is totally fictional. Okay. Stroopsdorf. Stroopsdorf.
Stroopsdorf.
Okay.
Okay, that's an... Is that,
Right now, immediately.
Is that a
there's
real town?
problem. That's not a
Stroopsdorf?
real town. I don't think.
Are you sure?
Let me check. I can almost guarantee it because Dorf is a German word.
Dorf is German. Stroops, like stroopwafel.
Stroop
Stroop is Dutch.
syrup, but Stroops.
I don't know. I have no idea.
Now, let me see here.
I will laugh. It actually is a town.
It's not a town.
Okay.
Definitely nowhere near being a town.
Okay, so this kind of is, you know, they always seem to mix German and Dutch.
Why?
As if they're the same culture.
I will never understand why that's a thing.
I guess because it's just easier to throw into the European bowl and say, okay, they're European, but this sounds like a Dutch name, so we're going to say it without doing their homework. So anyway, this is just the beginning. So we put Stroopsdorf.
That's so frustrating. Least important U.S. Army base in the world. That's kind of insulting saying it's the least important. I mean, you don't want the U.S. military having bases here, but at the same time, it's kind of saying that there's no point in having a military in the Netherlands. I mean, like Rotterdam is the largest port in Europe, cargo port. I don't know why they're saying it's the least important. Okay, so look at this frame. This is basically how many Dutch stereotypes can we crowd into 2 seconds of frames. We got a windmill. It's sitting in a field of tulips, sitting in a bed of tulips. You got the bikes. The only thing that would be more stereotypical is if they had all the bicyclists wearing clogs.
Yeah. Haven't seen it yet. So.
Well, no. Maybe they are. Maybe I'm missing it. More.
Still waiting for my first
tulips.
salute.
Hold on.
Yeah, oh, there we go.
Did he just
Waved to you like Forrest Gump on a shrimping boat? He did.
All you see is bikes so far.
Yeah, and no bike paths.
No bike paths. That's right.
No bike paths.
They're all on the concrete. Okay.
The buildings, too, don't look Dutch. Let me see where they filmed this. They filmed it in Ireland.
Okay.
I mean, all TV shows, movies, most of the time they don't shoot on location, but yeah, there's no bike paths, which
Probably
hinted
wouldn't
to
have
me.
picked this up had we not moved here. So
Yeah.
before we came here, all this would have been perfectly fine, probably.
Yeah. So we don't mean to insult
No,
anyone
we're not-
who
we're not
may be
putting anybody
watching
down.
this and not know, but
We're just two detectives here kind of bringing
you-
out the things that they did wrong. That's all.
yeah.
get up to that tower, some high ground, so we can see what we're working with?
I wouldn't. Possums don't like it when you go in their tower. Sir.
Soldier, you need a hair.
Do they have possums in the Netherlands?
No.
Are you sure?
Possums are from the Americas.
Okay. So
Yeah.
unless they brought possums over, they got something else wrong there. So there are no possums
It
here.
would have been more accurate if they said hedgehogs, but hedgehogs aren't going to
Yes.
climb a tower. But yeah, that's weird.
Okay, but possums are very identifiable to the American public. So if they don't look it up, they're not going to know that possums aren't in the Netherlands. So
That's
I'm not making
being
excuses,
generous.
it's just-
no, that's
I
being
know, okay,
generous.
well.
Yeah, because to me it's like, but the writers should know.
probably.
Because it takes, between from the pilot to getting a season to producing the season
Yeah.
to post and pre, where they got the camera scenic making the signs and everything. You would think someone would just confirm
Yeah.
that Dorf is correct. That
Right.
possums
The
are,
possums there are there.
part of
No.
the fauna here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little weird. He was riding his bike around the lawn like when I was a 5-year-old, and you're just like happy to be riding a bike, so you're just like, woo! I mean, there's like no point to his being on a bike.
Yeah, and he's riding in the grass. Isn't that kind of
He's just
frowned upon too? I don't
Yeah,
know,
yeah, he's just riding on the grass
Yeah.
in circles. It doesn't make any sense, but okay. I do see a problem right now. Look at the sign on there. It says fromagerie, cheese of the week.
Fromagerie.
Now,
Fromage
fromagerie is a French word.
Yeah.
Dutch love their cheese. They make a lot of cheese. They do not call their
Fromagerie.
fromageries.
Yeah.
And then you see the cheese of the week. It says ricotta, chèvre, pecorino, and burrata. So 1 French cheese and 3 Italian cheeses. None of the Dutch cheeses,
Good
which are
for
incredible.
you. We found you got good eyes there. I didn't even notice that.
Yeah,
Okay.
like with
Oh, okay.
the stinking stink. Okay.
Welcome to the fromagerie, sir.
I'm confused.
Cheese is what Stroopsdorf's known for. Cheese, laundry, and bowling.
We're in the horse tent. All right, we need to recon every inch of the space immediately.
Of course, sir. Cheese. Laundry. Bowling. Stroopsdorf offers all 3 services and bases in Germany and Belgium.
No tetherball, no Apple Store.
So I guess they're trying to say if they're supplying laundry to Germany and Belgium as well, this must be over by the 3 borders in Limburg.
Yeah, okay.
Is that what they're trying to?
They're-
But
okay,
then it
that's
doesn't
the
have to.
rough location of where they're
I'm
located.
assuming,
Yeah.
because it would be stupid to be doing laundry for 2 other countries and
Yeah.
trucking it. But it's also flat, and Limburg is not flat.
Yeah.
So they tried to make it look like the Ronstadt, and they're actually supposed to be outside of it.
I guess so.
I don't know. And please tell us in the comments. I know they have bowling here. I didn't know it was a big deal that represents it.
Yeah, I didn't either. Is it a thing? I mean,
Is it
I
a
know
thing
they have
where they would
bowling.
say, "Oh, look, it's got to be
Yeah.
the Netherlands. They've
Yeah.
got bowling and laundry." I don't understand at all.
No, maybe that's not supposed to be a
Be
Dutch thing.
representative?
Yeah, exactly.
don't
But
know.
the bowling thing, I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
I'm being stalked by giant bowling signs. The place is a boys and girls club for middle-aged civilians, including a small-time gigolo playing the video game. Hey, back to work. Move away from the machine before I feed you into it like a quarter.
I am still on early lunch break. I brought soup from home. Would you like some? We could share a spoon. Wow. I really like your medals.
I
German
despise
accent.
you.
That's a German accent.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so they're supposed to be Dutch.
They're supposed to be
And
Dutch.
he's representing them, but his accent.
His
that's
accent is German.
Yeah, it's German. So
accent-
again, the mixture of the Dutch and the German into one culture.
Yeah.
So it's easy.
That's a German accent.
It's a shortcut. So
Let me see where this actor's from. Okay, he's Icelandic. So either he thought himself as an actor that Dutch sound German, or he did a true Dutch accent and the producers told him to make it
make it
German.
German, yeah.
I don't know.
I really like your medals.
I despise your mesh hoodie.
Then you're going to hate the fact that this is actually a onesie. All right, bye-bye.
That way.
Yeah, it's German.
Yeah.
I am so sorry, guys. And that got renewed for a 2nd season.
But it gets a little dicey when you start to bring other cultures into it, because you got to be careful that you're not misrepresenting, although they do with the German and the Dutch there.
We know it's hard to discuss culture and try to be fair to everybody because it tends to lend itself to generalizations. We know this. We
Yeah.
make the mistakes. We try to get out of that bubble. But the stereotypes are so bizarre. I mean, I don't even understand why the Netherlands would lend itself to what they go, oh, we need a fish out of water comedy with very broad humor.
Yeah.
Why the Netherlands would particularly ring a bell for them to set it in. The comedy is so broad because the thing with American sitcoms is they're trying to make it funny to 10-year-olds all the way up to 80-year-olds of all different, economies and backgrounds and cultures. And it's so broad then that it's not really humorous to anyone.
No, not really.
I didn't think so.
What's next?
Okay, so we're going to watch Spider-Man Far From Home. This one we saw...
Good movie. Really was.
Fun movie. We saw this one after we'd visited the Netherlands for the first time.
I got the orange.
Where am I? Municipal holding facility.
So they're dressed... They're wearing the body paint and the orange, so they're representing...
They went to a football game or something.
They went to a football game representing the national team.
Yep.
So otherwise they would have their different clubs on
Municipal
instead.
holding facility.
They said they found you unconscious at the train yard? Very dangerous.
We gave you the shirt because you seemed a bit cold.
These accents are so much better.
Yeah, I was going to say.
You guys are nice. You speak really good English.
Yep.
Welcome to the Netherlands.
You can tell they cast Dutch people to do these.
Luke! Okay, we got Luke.
And we see the windmills in the background here.
Windmill.
Of course. What's with the cows and the goats?
Yeah, okay, so they've got a courtyard, cobblestone courtyard. It looks like it's supposed to be the weekly market, and they've got hay just thrown on the ground and a lot of farm animals for some reason.
Okay, and you know what? Whenever we travel someplace, what's the one thing we talk about? There are so many cows, so many goats, so many livestock. So they're putting that in the square. They're sort of adding it.
Yeah, there's no reason to have them at market, though.
No.
And
It's like a farmer's market, but with animals.
yeah,
So-
yeah, and also the buildings and all that. I mean, maybe they're trying to make it look like a hoova, but that's not like a city square.
No, and that doesn't look like it would be Dutch anyway.
I'm seeing a guy with a beret.
Yeah.
Excuse me, sir. Can I borrow your phone?
He's wearing
Cheese.
his town broek.
You got tons of cheese behind him, all the wheels of cheese.
Yeah, the gouda. Yeah. You've got some people trying to wear a traditional dress back there.
Oh yeah, I just noticed that.
The gentleman right behind the
Yeah,
man with the
yeah,
town
yeah.
broek. That's pretty good.
Where am I, sir?
Is Broek op Langendijk?
Broek op Langendijk.
Brandelijk. Op.
Broek op Langendijk.
Okay.
So pants on a long dike.
But is that a real town?
Let me check. It is a real town.
Okay.
It's just north of Alkmaar in Noord-Holland.
Okay, Noord-Holland.
It does not look like it has a square. It's a very tiny dorp. I'm going to walk you guys through Google Earth through the Dorpstraat, which would be the main street in Broek op Langendijk.
Broek op Langendijk.
Broek op Langendijk.
We'll work on it. I'll work on it.
Yeah, it doesn't look like that. And the thing is, like, this looks like, it kind of reminds me of, you remember that bad movie, Gymkata? No, it looks like the way that Americans used to show Eastern Europe during the Cold War in movies. So U.S. movies had a particular aesthetic that they would show for Eastern Europe during the Cold War, and that's what this kind of reminds me of, like a set left over from that. And also the clinkers are all uneven. Yeah, see, Dutch towns are much more clean and well maintained. Even like the monumental areas, like the original dorps, where you're going to find the oldest buildings, are extremely well maintained and tidy. You're not going to throw hay on the ground and have,
Yeah, that's a little
farm animals shitting everywhere.
It's a little strange.
Uneven paving stones and yeah, nay. But at least they got the cheese right. I don't see any chèvre ricotta there, so.
Oh, I got the tulips.
Of course. Okay, so on this scene, I found out that no tulip was harmed in the making of this movie. But this was all CGI. So that's Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Yeah.
So when you first saw this movie, what was your impression? Because we had just visited the Netherlands.
Yeah, but I didn't really, like anything else before we moved here, we accepted, or I did anyway, I accepted Know What I Saw as Dutch.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of what I thought. So I'm like, okay, this is the Netherlands.
It's that place with that thing because they got those. Yeah.
Nothing bothered me. You know, it still
didn't
is
bother
not.
me. It was polite. It was complimentary that, you know, they are nice. They speak Dutch. They're concerned about each other.
Yeah.
They take care of each other.
But it wasn't cringeworthy. You know, so
No, it was definitely stereotypical.
Yeah, that was fun though. That was a fun scene.
Gold
member.
Gold member.
Saw this a long time ago.
So his name is Johan van der Smut. Or Schmut, as he says.
Schmut.
This is the sequel to Austin Powers, and he's based on Goldfinger, the villain in James Bond movie, Goldfinger. Yeah. And he's Dutch. So
he is Dutch.
He's supposed to be Dutch, yeah.
Okay.
Tons. Welcome to 1975, Austin Powers and Faja. Excuse me.
What's that?
This is very farcical.
Faja?
This is very farcical, satirical, broad. Yeah, Faja.
Is that supposed to be a Dutch accent that he's doing? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know he's playing it for laughs, but that
he's the Dutchman.
Yeah,
okay.
But this sounds much more German to me. They keep saying Faja, and I keep thinking Faja.
Yeah.
You know, the layer under. It's like it's Vader. Father in Dutch is Vader.
Are you sure he's trying to say father?
Yeah, he said Austin Powers and Faja.
And Faja. Oh,
father.
So okay.
Austin Powers and father. Yeah.
Okay.
Faja. Now, Dutch speak very good English, so even if they were to say father, it wouldn't sound like Faja.
Yeah, no. That's way over the top. Okay.
The holler boogie has made me sweaty. Yeah,
sweaty.
Sweaty?
You see, Mr. Powers, I love gold.
Well, that's kind of funny that the character loves gold, and everything he has is gold because, you know, the one thing.
They're not flashy over here, and matter of fact, they frown on you flaunting your wealth.
Yeah.
So that's kind of in your face. So that goes against that.
That goes against his Dutchness, I guess you'd say.
The look of it, the taste of it, the smell of it, the texture. I love gold so much that I even lost my genitalia in an unfortunate smelting accident.
I want to say it's too German.
I don't even know.
But it's not even German.
It's not even German.
I don't know what the hell it is.
It's a mixture of about 5 different European accents.
But you know, that's Mike Myers too, because like the movie he made, So I Married an Axe Murderer. Mike Myers is from Canada. His parents are Scottish in real life, and his Scottish accents in that movie are so broad and over the top. No Scottish person sounds like that. So he does do really broad for laugh voices.
We are both swingers, you see. You have a tight body. Yes. I see that from your tight pants.
Tight. Why? Tight.
It's supposed to be tight. Oh, okay.
Tight.
Is it mean tight? Is that what he's trying to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
right.
Toit, it's like, no, the Dutch can say I.
Yeah.
They can say I, like the I river, IJ, or I, hard I. Yeah, they wouldn't add an O to an I. Toit.
Again, I'm scratching
Toity.
I'm scratching in my head as to like where he came up with that one.
Yes, you are tight like a tiger. Would you like
See, he can say tiger. He can say the tiger there, but he can't say tight like a tiger.
They're different words. Toit is toit.
But they're both just an I.
No, not to him.
I want a smoke and a pancake.
A rook and a pannenkoek.
Smoke and a pancake.
You know, flapjack and a cigarette? All right. Cigar and a waffle? No. Pipe and a crepe? No. Bong and a blintz?
So something you can smoke with something you can eat put together. Is that a Dutch thing?
No.
Okay, I'm trying to kind of keep the stereotypes.
People like to smoke.
Yeah.
And people do eat breakfast. But I think it's just for humor.
Okay.
But I mean, half of the meals he showed aren't even of Dutch origin.
I know,
yeah.
No.
Oh, well, then there is no pleasing you.
All right, gold member.
Don't play the laughing boy. There are only two things I can't stand in this world. People who are intolerant of other people's cultures and the Dutch.
Okay, the Dutch are tolerant of other cultures.
The Dutch are tolerant, and yeah, so it's like a double joke there.
Okay.
You're saying you don't believe in intolerance while being intolerant, and also that you're intolerant towards a tolerant country.
Okay. This is just silly.
You know what? I love Michael Caine's glasses in this.
Oh, yeah? Oh, I'm
Yes.
sure you do.
Yes. Big glasses unite.
Yep.
We've seen many big glasses on Michael Caine. Yeah, and mine are an homage to George Romero. So I'm not trying to look purty for anyone anymore. I'm just trying to be me.
He's an American horror filmmaker, by the way. Anybody who doesn't know who he is. So.
Yeah.
For the coffee. Or, bedankt voor de koffie, Gunther.
Je spreekt net.
Gunther.
Oh, his name is Gunther.
Gunther.
Okay, so he's Dutch. Gunther is not
with a
Dutch
German name. Yeah, he's
okay.
Dutch
Again,
with a German
Dutch
name.
and German being kind of put together as one culture.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean that there's not Gunthers in
the
Netherlands. I mean, there's Gunthers in the U.S. too. But if you're going to make a character and make him sound as Dutch as you can, I wouldn't have picked Gunther. No. There's a lot of good Dutch names out there that you can use. Yeah,
Voor
you
de
guys didn't get that
koffie,
memo.
Gunther.
Je spreekt Nederlands. Dat is te gek. Heb je familie daar?
That accent! That accent!
Had je familie daar? Didn't sound like normal Dutch.
No, it doesn't. No, it's
no.
very sing-songy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm going to give the actor the benefit of the doubt here because, he's an under 5. He's doing less than 5 lines. So you can bet that production didn't pay for him to have a dialect coach. And, this was filmed in the 90s. This was before... The internet really was everywhere before YouTube.
You can research that kind of stuff easily.
Yeah, but then it would have been hard for an actor to try to figure... I mean, maybe he knew someone who was Dutch... But there were these tape series that they used to have called Accents for Actors, and they had like 20, 30 different accents. I don't even think they had Dutch, but that was like the only way you could learn an accent.
I never saw Dutch when I was there. I saw German. I saw every other accent but Dutch.
Yeah, I don't remember Dutch. I used to work at the drama bookshop, and we carried them all, and I don't remember seeing a Dutch one. So that would have been hard back in the 90s if you didn't know someone or you weren't paying for a dialect coach to get the accent right. So
tell us, anybody who's watching this clip, if you listen to him, let us know if he sounds Dutch to you when he's speaking Dutch. So I'd be curious to know.
Yeah, we're done.
Ezel.
Called him a donkey.
Called him an ass.
Yeah, well.
This is cutting edge for the 90s American primetime television.
He didn't say ass. He called him a donkey, which is,
I guess, so they were sneaking it past the
Yeah.
censors because back then, you couldn't say bitch or anything in prime time. So they were getting one over on the censors there.
Ezel. Ezel. Hey, Gunther, you're an ezel.
Jij hebt seks met ezels.
Yeah, I had
You have sex with donkeys.
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty much
have
as far as you could push it. Back
that was actually really pushing it. Yeah, you have sex with asses.
Okay.
Woo!
Pretty bold.
Fair play, NBC, for 1990s U.S. television.
Such a good show. I remember. I mean, but
I
just never really knew that he was Dutch, I guess, until now.
Gunther?
Gunther.
Well, I don't know why.
I mean, the name Gunther always tells me that he was German. But back when I was watching the show, or even before I moved here, I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference between German and Dutch.
Uh-oh.
I would have assumed that he's German.
Well, that would explain then why so many Americans conflate the two to me.
But again, we would love to hear from you folks. Let us know if in his brief Dutch that you hear, does he sound Dutch or does he not sound Dutch?
Yeah, this actor is not Dutch. Just from the accent, you know he's not a native speaker. Let me see where he's from because it sounds very American to me. So let me see where he's from. He's from Mississippi. Let us know, did you see these before. What'd you think? You know, as a Dutch person, as an American person, did you think, okay, this is representative of the Netherlands? Dutch people, were you offended? Were you okay with it?
Particularly
did
gold
you have
member.
fun with it?
Gold member would be
Gold
one.
member.
I would love to hear people's opinions of that.
That one is so broad, though.
Yeah,
that one is definitely not trying to be true to form.
Yeah.
None of them are really. I mean, they're all comedies.
Yeah, and do you folks feel offended when you hear the stereotypes in movies, or do you just kind of roll your eyes and say, okay, there they go again, kind of a thing? I'd be curious about your reactions to the misconceptions. So,
yeah,
yeah,
definitely. So thanks so much for joining us again. We really are grateful you're here, and let us know what we got wrong, what we missed in these clips too. That you know, maybe you went, oh, how'd they miss that? Yeah. So yeah, this is just our eyes on this after 2 years living here, compared to how we used to view them. And how we used to view them, I never even took it in that they might have been wrong at all.
Yeah.
I would have watched this and went, okay, Gunter's a Dutch name. Okay, that's a Dutch accent the gold member's using. I would have never been able to differentiate because I didn't have any experience.
Well, thanks for staying with us, folks, and we'll see you next time.
Doei.